Good afternoon, Walter.
Good
Thank you for
afternoon.
being here. Would you
My
like
pleasure to be here.
Would you like to introduce yourself and tell us your name and where you were born?
Gladly. My name is Walter J. Jacob Wertheimer. I was born January the 18th, 1922, in a little suburban town called Emmendingen in southwest Germany, at the triangle between Germany, France, and Switzerland. One day, and this was probably 34, beginning of 34, the teacher in one of my classes, it was high school, junior high school. The teacher said to us, listen, we as a class tomorrow will march to town hall because the new Gauleiter, the new regent, the Nazi, and this was an SS guy, his name was Wagner, Gauleiter Wagner, that means a provincial chief, Nazi chief, is coming to town. We have to honor him. He wants to talk to the school kids. And we Jewish kids in class, we looked at each other, what are we going to do this? We all went home. We told our parents, I told my mother and my father, and so did my sister, what is being asked. And we said to our parents, must we do this? And my father, being a true dyed-in-the-wool patriot, said, of course you will go to school, go to that march tomorrow. You will go with the class and you're going to listen to Gauleiter Wagner. And if you have to clasp, you clasp. If you have to sing, you sing.
But you had a gut feeling that you were not comfortable doing this.
I was very nervous. I was traumatized. My grades, every end of the semester, my grades went downhill. And I know we called friends, my mother, and I tell you my mother's influence in my mother. My mother called some other families, and these families said, well, our kids don't know. They're torn. They don't know. Should they go? And my father and my mother would say, well, my father, you know, Robert, what he thinks, he knows the answers. That's he was very high in the ranks of Jewish community life. And all the families said to the kids, you got to go. You march with him, you're a German child. Well, make a long story short, we went to school and we marched to that, it's called the marketplace, it's a town hall marketplace. And these things you never forget. Halfway into the speech, this guy was in uniform. Sieg Heil.
In flags?
All of a sudden, in his speech, he said, you know that we are approaching a new era, that this is a new beginning, and you people will be the beneficiary because Hitler will do away with he will overcome all the stumbling blocks and all the people who have fought him, and number one on the list are the Jews. And he started the tirade about the Jews.
Do you remember what he said?
Yeah. Saying the Jews are responsible for the unemployment in Germany and for the World War I defeat of the Germans, and now we have a new regime. Now is the opportunity all to work together and work with the Führer. Well, we kids stood, we looked at each other. I think I cried, and a number of other cried. When the thing was over and we were dismissed, the Jewish boys and girls, I don't know whether we handheld, but we walked together, not with the class back to school. We walked home, and we came home, and we cried, and we really approached our parents. They said, how could you do this? Yeah. And the reason I'm stressing this story, and friends of mine who also have survived, we always talk about it. Our parents were, I don't want to say denial, but they could not comprehend how we felt in terms of being affected as young kids, being excluded. And the parents had one choice. And the choice was, and my father did that, I had my sister a year and a half older, much brighter, better grades. My sister, the next year, went to a Jewish private school in Frankfurt, But I stayed for another year and a half in school, separated, only sitting with Jewish kids. What was the counter and the very, how should I say, happy response was the Jewish community. Our Jewish community took a hold and organized everything. We had a Jewish soccer league, we had a Jewish ski league, we went swimming together until Jewish kids could no longer go to the public bath, public swimming pool. And it came within a year. So what we lacked and what we lost and what we emotionally lost because of that separation, we made up in friendship with our peers up in the Jewish community.
But
that was a turning point, and it was beneficial because the following year I went in the summer to one of my uncles in Berlin for about 4 or 5 weeks. In fact, a friend of mine, Jewish boy from hometown, who also had an uncle in Berlin, we went on a trade and we spent time in Berlin. We had a good time, and I sort of had the feeling Berlin is really a different world.
were you seeing Nazi flags at that time?
I'm going to come to that. I came back from that vacation, and this one uncle who was he was really my hero. He was the man I looked up to, said to me, you know, we found a school for you in Berlin. I had some artistic talents. He said, it's a technical school, but it teaches you advertising, poster drawing, window decoration. I mean, he says, it's what you need. October 1938. So I got everything together, and I came to Berlin, and my uncle said, you can't stay here. He was intermarried. He said, you can't stay here, but there's a family near that school. The school is called Hausdorff Schule. There's a place near there, Jewish family, happens to be a Polish Jewish family, and you can stay with them, nice people. On weekends to come. Well, October ends, November comes, 9th of November comes. And that morning, the family, the Jewish people said to me, look, we heard on the radio what happened last night. They didn't call it Kristallnacht, or didn't call it Kristallnacht. The Nazis are out on a rampage. They're burning down synagogues. They're burning down stores. We think the best thing for you today is just walk around in the streets. And tonight, don't come back here, because they had sons. It was a relatively young family. There is a family, elderly people, Viennese family.
And they were Jewish.
Jewish family that would love to have you. If you stay overnight there, whether it's one night or 2 nights, at least, if they're ransacked or if somebody knocks at their door, don't worry. Well, I did. I went out and I walked, because they lived what they call, it is a section of Berlin, it's called the Bavarian Quarters. Very Jewish. I walked from there right into the main part of downtown Berlin, and I saw with my own eyes the huge synagogue called the Fasanenstraße synagogue in flames. Not yet realizing what it was and how this happened. I walked in the streets, I hear people saying we have to smash the windows, which they did. And people came and said, I hope there are no Jews around here, we would kill them. And I knew I wasn't looking very Jewish. And I very often stress that when I talk to Jewish classes and non-Jewish classes. This feeling you don't look Jewish, this was like sort of a shield, you know. You said to yourself, I don't look Jewish. But I walked around the whole day in Berlin saying to myself, look, I'm walking tonight, I go to that family, I have the address and so forth. I went to that family.
And no one stopped you that day?
Nobody stopped me.
And what else did you see when you were walking?
I saw stores being smashed. I saw people walking the streets. Not Jewish people, obviously, maybe also some young people like me who nobody knew, you know. And I saw this, but I could not relate. What was this, you know? I mean, obviously they were trying to have a pogrom. And I woke up to this really